Nuts and Bolts really digs deep into the nostalgia bag to help carry itself. Most of its levels have very similar music to its predecessors, but none more obvious than Banjo Land. Granted, it is a museum-based level, so it can get away with just reusing everything and still technically being original. The developers are good at this sort of thing. I mean, just look at Yooka-Laylee. Spiritually identical, but different enough not to get sued. But aside from the nostalgia, Banjo Land just doesn't really have anything that stands out, other than a trip down memory lane. And that's just not good enough to beat the originals. But I'm not complaining, it's still pretty fun. When I first opened this world, I chose to expand it right off the bat before entering, because my sister said it was really fun. Big mistake. With a name like Moody Maze Marsh, I was destined to get lost. So I left and saved it to the very end once everything else was complete. And it wasn't as bad as I thought. Sure, it was dark and gloomy and more difficult to navigate than the Great Bay Temple, but the music and atmosphere is through the roof, and I was impressed with the variety of different puzzles and challenges. I even finished without any rage quits. It was generally a pretty good time. I have a feeling next time I play this game, it'll jump up my list, especially when I decide to open up the world in pieces instead of all at once. Do you want to know what I really like about Las Vegas? It's not the gambling, drinking, partying, or even the scattered ass all over the place. Okay, maybe that last one. But what I really like about it is the different gimmicks and aesthetics of the hotels and the casino atmosphere. That, and I'm a sucker for a light show. The shinier the better. The only downside to casinos is that they're cramped and crowded, and Capital Casino is no different. But it feels exactly like a casino, and being able to play golf, slot machines, roulette, and even break into the casino vault like Chief Inspector Lee or Danny Ocean is about as fun as it would be in real life, without the after effects of the sudden abundance of wealth, or prison if you are unsuccessful. But just like a real casino, spend too much time there and you'll regret it, and it won't be fun anymore. I guess they really nailed it then, hey? At least it made it into the top 20. Okay, before you start getting your weapons ready,
a 30 caliber bolt action 700 with a carbon 1 modification and a state-of-the-art hands-hold tactical scope.
Freeze-Easy Peak does get better the more I play it. It used to be far lower on this list, but it slowly grows on me. It's one of those levels that I always remember being far too long and difficult to get through, but each time I play through the peak, I end up looking at the completed view total screen and thinking, that wasn't all that bad. And when you pair it with the pleasant winter music and the cheerful Christmassy tone that goes with it, it's a fairly nice level to do. It just can't beat out the juggernauts of awesomeness that Banjo Kazooie also brings to the table. The competition is just too great. Mumbo's Mountain may be a basic introductory into the game, but its ability to make use of its characters is unmatched, and is something I wish a lot newer games did a lot more of. For example, Conga the Gorilla is associated with 30% of the world's Jiggy supply, and the way he distributes his wealth in such different ways is very memorable. Instead of the lazy way of just doing the same mundane tasks over and over again on slightly increasing difficulty, Conga has completely different ways of helping the Baron Bird through Mumbo's Mountain, including missing you with his oranges to expose his hidden treasure, stealing his oranges to feed the very hungry Chimpy the Chimp, and even sniping him with eggs. The variety of this one character alone is enough to significantly bump Mumbo's Mountain so far up this list. Less is more, kids. Less is more. Do you ever notice a pattern with Banjo games? And I'm really only specifically talking about the theme of the first worlds here. Mayhem Temple, just like its brethren Mumbo's Mountain and Tribal Stack Tropics, all have that ancient tribal feel to them. However, Mayhem Temple takes it to the next level and seems to have a little bit more of an edge to it than the others. Going deeper into the temple and having music and atmosphere that's slightly more threatening and dark, it really gives off the impression that I believe Banjo Tooie gives off as a whole. And that is, quite simply as Banjo put it in the very beginning of the game, I don't think it'll be so easy this time around. Bam Temple backs up this statement by giving off more dangerous vibes than the other First Worlds, and just overall a bigger and more epic feel to it. A great way to start off the game. Remember that First World theme that I was just talking about? Well, Nuts and Bolts broke it. Kind of, anyway. It may be a coconut farm on the beach, but it's hard to ignore the good old-fashioned threatening volcano that always looms over a tribal setting. But in all seriousness, Nutty Acres doesn't feel tribal at all. It's actually quite a relaxing open map to navigate and play through. Sure, you have those trees that get in the way, but I'm nitpicking. And I really don't think anyone's going to complain about the music in this place that is derived from Treasure Trove Cove. The challenges in this level are relatively simple and a great introduction into the game, with a nice quick flying tutorial and a few gentle races. Nutty Acres is definitely a place you want to spend your time. The difficulty curve nicely increases throughout the acts, and throw in a wicked aerial battle with Mr. Patch and this level shot up my favorites list like a freaking rocket. Do you want to know how I beat Mr. Patch so easily?
Because I was inverted.
So guys, what kind of gimmick should we do for a fun level? A crooked casino? An old abandoned mine? How about a sweet ass beach island? Maybe a museum? No, we're gonna do a dangerous and sketchy theme park where any good parent definitely shouldn't bring their children. I'm looking squarely at you, Mrs. Boggy. Dangerous and sketchy is a huge understatement for Witchy World. This place is full of broken equipment, out of order rides, closed off areas, probably due to a permanently missing child, unsanitary food that will give you all sorts of sicknesses, and disgruntled employees that at the very sight of you will chase you down with whatever they happen to be holding in their hands at the time.
Great Scott.
This place is the opposite of safe, and for God's sake, what kind of parent is Mrs. Boggy? I will remind you again, this is not a great place for kids, but this is a great place for a banjo game. I like space. The mystery of it, the science of it, the beauty of its colors and lights. Sucker for a light show, I know. But that isn't the only thing going for the Terrarium of Terror. A place that is a giant plant experiment ecosystem set up in the depths of space. Add the spooky space music and traces of a more intense Mad Monster Mansion theme, and you really get into the zone when you're doing some of the challenges. One of the only downsides to the Terrarium is that it can be difficult to navigate. But when you are traversing from one section to another through the tunnels with that intense music in the background, it feels pretty cool and it's just really fun to drive through. Must be some good old Spaceport Alpha vibes, I guess. I don't know. I just really like doing this map. I wonder if that big flower in the middle is the same flower from Click Clock Wood that has been moved to space and given room to grow to incredible size. Treasure Trove Cove.
Now, doesn't that just torque your jaws?
Okay, calm down. We're cresting the hill of the top 10 in a series that's made of pure gold. This is some tight competition here. Treasure Trove Cove is a place I would like to spend a vacation. It's so peaceful yet full of adventure, with pirate ships, a lighthouse, and big-ass crustaceans. Not sure how Krabby McLobsterson fits into adventure or peaceful, but it's Treasure Trove Cove, and nobody questions it. However, this level suffers from the same thing as Gobby's Valley, and I've spent way too much time here, far too many times. And it's gotten old. From returning to enter codes and drain the sandcastle water every single time, to trying to figure out how in the bluest of hells to raise Shark Food Island in a pre-internet era. Think about that for a minute, and you might understand why I might be a little worn out on this level. Still though, it's Treasure Trove Cove.
And nobody questions him.
And I'm always still down to play it. If the Olympics were in a banjo game, it would be the Jigasean. From lighting the Olympic torch to toppling dominoes, this world feels like it took its challenges and made it more of an old-fashioned banjo task from the earlier games, which definitely makes it more memorable. throw in a few races which you can exploit by using a plane while everybody else uses a car, and an inverted controls challenge which I just exploited by turning my controller upside down. And then we have ourselves a fun world. Part of the reason why this game is so good is that it can be done in ways the game developers hadn't even thought of. Eat your heart out, Breath of the Wild. Nuts and Bolts was way ahead of its time. For example, in the Grunty fight you have to protect billiard balls from her laser. Some people may have just tried to shoot her down while she tried to do this, whereas I just took the sticky ball and stuck the billiard balls and weaved it around her so she would miss. This one time I missed the billiard ball, however, and I stuck Grunty instead, and just started dragging her around while she tried to helplessly aim at it. So damn satisfying! This place is gigantic! It's as big as the very creatures that inhabit it. How do you give a supermassive world a ton more character? By making it prehistoric, and adding motherfucking dinosaurs! Pterodactyl Land has its fair share of dangers though, ranging from the tough dinosaurs to falling from the incredibly large mountain in the center of the world, or even get eaten in the quicksand. Pterodactyl Land must be tread carefully. Unless of course you bring Mumbo over to Wumba Tent and perform dirty shaman prank on Wigwam, turning the dino you transform into a devastating T-Rex. Now you become the greatest danger of Pterodactyl Land, eradicating anything that gets in your way. You are the aggressor, and it's time to eviscerate some dirty MFers. Best described when you roar at the Oogle Google Cave Guard and quite literally scare the shit out of that Unga Bunga scum. And the top 10 consolation prize goes to Galleon Galaxy. Just coming in short of the top 10, Yooka-Laylee delivers in spades with its own space-themed world. When I was exploring Hadri Towers, I'd come across signs that showed what the world was themed. And when I seen that there was a space-themed world, I lost my mind and became mission-driven to get to this place. And I was not disappointed. From the very moment you enter the galaxy, you are greeted with the most epic of songs. A music track that is well suited for pickpocketing space pirates, sailing the seas of the stars, and decimating planets with titanic explosions. This world is packed full of substance. Packed so full you have to clean out the pipes. Sure, plumbing is not the most glamorous job in the world, but listening to a Grunty Industries type theme while doing it is all too fitting. Speaking of themes, the epicness of the Galleon Galaxy theme is taken to the next level once transformed into the pirate ship. You thought it was cool destroying planets before? With this spaceship, annihilating space bodies has never been sweeter.